I almost asked how we should start, but then I didn't on purpose. Hey, it's James and Leslie here, and we've been talking about anxiety for the entire month of October, exploring different questions, like what is anxiety?
Yeah, like how do you deal with anxiety?
Right, what causes it?
How do you overcome anxiety?
How do you stop it?
How do you do all the things with anxiety?
Right. A conversation.
Going so well.
It's not a confrontation.
I like this. Keep it going. Oh, that was a microphone.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, I think what's important to recognize is that anxiety is a very real medical condition, right? It's a big deal. And so hopefully you realize that if that's something that you're dealing with, that you know the right next step is to go talk to somebody, a trusted adult, somebody that can help you deal with whatever situation you might be walking through.
Yeah, so the topic of anxiety is really important to us. Like, we're not just talking about it. We actually know people or maybe even deal with it ourselves. And so we are super honored to bring this series of messages tonight, concluding with Sean Loftus teaching us how to have peace when it comes to anxiety.
All right, Switch, what is going on tonight? My name is Sean Loftus, and I have, like you've probably heard so many times before, one of the greatest jobs in the world, getting to be a Switch pastor here at Life Church. And tonight we're talking about a subject, we're talking about this idea, this concept. Are you ready for it? Are you excited? Okay. We're talking about suffering. Everyone's like, suffering. Like, some of you are like, I brought a friend. Suffering night? Are you kidding me? But here's the deal. We're not talking about just any type of suffering. We're talking about suffering. This doesn't get better. We're talking about suffering that God, for whatever reason, He allows to take place in our life. Like, I don't care who you are. You could be a Christian, you could be a non-Christian. It doesn't matter what you believe. You have all hit some point in your life where something happens and you go, why God? Like, we do it over small stuff. I do it all the time. Some of y'all are like, why God? Like, why was I not born and living in San Diego, California, on the beach, right? I know I do that, but hey, I'm about to get a little personal, get a little deep with y'all. Some of us say, why God, based off of our physical appearance. If you laugh, I know to pray for you afterwards. I'll lay hands on you, but me and God have had it out about some stuff, in my life. One of those things is the fact that I have the worst chicken legs you've ever seen. Okay, I need to pray for all of you. Laugh at my pain. I'm serious. Like, if I wear shorts, it looks like God was like, He's fearfully and wonderfully made, and got to my knees and He was like, oh, wait, I got something else to do. Like, why God? On top of that, y'all, I don't know if you know this, I don't have any hair. I'm not even 30 yet. Like, I'm showing up to high school reunions like bald, and you might be thinking, nothing wrong with going bald, but like before 30, it's like, God, that's a cold God right there. Like, we've had it out, right? Even in the small stuff, you start to get kind of upset at God, right? Like, you'll read a verse and be like, oh, it'll just like make you mad. Whenever you're sitting there, and at least for me, just be sitting in a service and that pastor, he drops that verse, he's like, He knows every single hair on your head. I'm like, oh. Hey, no, I'm glad I took one for the team so you don't have to keep track of all those numbers. It's cool. But I found peace in it. I was praying with God one day. I was talking to Him, just, hey, what's going on? What's going on with this? I can't even really gain weight. Like, I have to watch what I eat because I don't get thick. Like, when guys eat and get thick, they're like, oh, you're bulking up. For me, I look like a potato with just 2 toothpicks stuck into it. Go to the pool looking like Humpty Dumpty. But God, He spoke to me in a still small voice. It was awesome. Praying like, God, chicken legs, oh, what's going on? And He just spoke to me and He said, Sean, a lot of people don't know this. Jesus was bald. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. One day, you can't find it in the Bible. It's like Leviticus 5:4. It says Jesus. Bible joke, so good. You love them, right? You love them. You got to love them. Here's the deal, though. When we start asking why God, it can turn from small, funny ideas to really some deep-rooted issues. It can go from small things to serious so fast. And for some of you, you ask, why God? I look at your generation. You have to go through things that in America, no other generation has ever had to go through. I read an article recently saying one of the things that causes so much fear and anxiety for you is the idea of school shootings, the frequency of them, waking up not knowing what could be happening at school that day. I read a study that said that girls in your generation from the age of 11 to 17, they have experienced some type of sexual abuse. Guys, 1 in 5 in that same age bracket, you look and go, why, God? You can look and go, why racism? In 2019, why are we still suffering with this? For some of you, you've always been such a good student, but you're looking at your other classmates and you're seeing them excel and you're going, why am I not excelling at that rate? Why do I have this learning disability? Why do I have this issue that I can't seem that God, you're allowing in my life? And I'm just here to tell you tonight that it is okay to ask God why. People all through Scripture are asking God why. Some of the main, best, most amazing examples in the Bible, they have their why God moments. I would argue that the most famous character in the Bible, the person that the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, the whole idea, the whole story, it points to this one person. It points to Jesus. Even Jesus has his why God moments. I want you to look at just 3 verses tonight. We're going to look at Luke 22, verses 42 through 44. Jesus has started his earthly ministry. It's about to come to an end. He actually breaks away from his disciples. He goes to talk to God the Father, and he gets in one of his favorite kind of prayer places. He goes to the Garden of Gethsemane, and he's having a conversation with God. He lets us see this. If you didn't know this about Jesus, Jesus is fully God, fully human, and he has one of the most intense human experiences in this moment. And I want us to just read it and just feel what he's going through. Jesus praying, he says, Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done. An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Now, when he says take this cup, it wasn't a physical cup, it was symbolic. And what was the symbolism behind it in the biblical times, it was a representation of pain and suffering. He was saying, God, if there is any other way, why do we have to go with this cup? Switch. I'm here to tell you tonight that the longer you live life, the more cups you're going to get. And here's the deal, is that asking why is a totally fair question. But if you sit in the why, you will not get anywhere. I would even say it like this. Asking why will always leave you with a never-ending problem. But asking what will always leave you with a never-ending purpose. And when you could clap for that, that's okay. Because here's the deal. When we get these cups presented to us in life, we're so quick to say, God, can I have another one? Or, hey, could you give it to someone else? Or, hey, I'm just gonna leave it here and hope that it goes away over time. But in reality, the only way to experience peace and purpose and all these things isn't to give the cup away. It's not to ask why I have it, but it's actually to go through with what is in it. Switch, can I tell you a cup that God has put in my life of suffering? I'll never forget the appointment. My wife was pregnant with our daughter. We go to this 6-month ultrasound, and we leave that ultrasound with this reality that our daughter has a hole in her heart, fearfully and wonderfully made, yet she has this heart defect. And it's not an easy one. They tell us in that appointment, you're gonna have to have open heart surgery as soon as she's born. And I remember praying and praying and praying. We believe in a God of miracles. He's gonna heal her. I had people all over the country praying that we would experience a miracle, that God would change our cup. And the reality of it is she was born early. She was 4 pounds, 3 ounces. When she was born, they rushed her to the NICU, and she, for the next month and 9 days, so she is in the NICU, and then she goes to another floor, the heart floor, and she's sitting there, and her health is declining, and they're trying to get her bigger because they don't want to do open heart surgery on a 4 pound, 3 ounce baby. And I'm sitting there asking God, why would you allow this kind of suffering? The day she gets wheeled off down the hallway and she goes into surgery, she's 5 pounds, 6.5 hour long surgery, open heart. Still asking God, why? Why this cup? Why us? And they wheeled her back. And it was touch and go for a little bit. And she started to get a little bit of strength back. And this is what we walked back into. As a dad, you look at that and you still ask yourself, God, why? Why that kind of pain? Why that kind of suffering? But asking God why never brought me peace or purpose. It was from that day when I saw her and they closed her chest up that I started asking God what? God, I'm not going to get the answers I want this side of heaven, so I'm just going to start asking what. And when I started asking what, I started finding purpose. I started realizing God has entrusted me to steward this little girl and her story and her pain and her suffering, and I'm not going to blow it. Because I'm going to step into the what. And when you step into the what, you start to find purpose. And when you step into the what, you start to find peace. But here's the thing about peace, Switch, that I need you to understand. I want you to feel this, is that the peace of God, peace comes in pieces. Sometimes we're under this notion that you're less spiritual when you don't always feel the peace of God. But Jesus shows us in chronological order how the peace of God works. He's in the garden, he's in anguish, and he needs something. So an angel comes and comforts him. Imagine that kind of peace. Just shoulder rubs from an angel. Feeling good, appreciate it, heaven. Angel bounces. You know what the next sentence is? And again, he was in anguish. Peace comes in pieces. But if you want to experience the peace of God, you can't just keep staring and asking why. Although it's fair, you have to start asking what. And here's the thing that I've learned about the peace of God is that even though it comes in pieces, God will never give his peace without having purpose behind it. And so when you're thinking, God, I want your peace, I want your peace, I want your peace, I want your peace, God is saying, I love you and I hear you, but here's the deal. Here's the example I've given in Jesus. I know you want the peace, but I'm not going to give you peace when you want it. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you when you need it. And you can look at this story and think that Jesus, is that good. And you can look at the story and think, Jesus, the peace didn't work. But when you look at the rest of the story, that angel, that comfort, it was just enough to get him through the next day. It was just enough to bring him to that cross. Switch, I don't know what cup God has put in front of you. I don't know what suffering that you're going through. But right now, I'm going to ask that I could pray for you and challenge you to not only ask God why, but to start asking him what.
Peace comes in pieces. And like Sean said, it's so easy to get caught up on the why. I know I've lived my life in that space, but like how much more actionable is it and applicable is it to ask what? What can I do? Like what would you have me do, God, even?
Right. I think that's such a great perspective shift, because the reality is fear and anxiety are real. But what I love is over the course of these last 4 weeks, these different messages that we've gotten to hear, we've gotten some really practical and actionable steps that even though they may not fix our anxiety overnight, they will absolutely be a step in the right direction. So what is that for you as we're talking about fear and anxiety? What are you gonna do differently to help you move in the direction of experiencing the peace that God wants to offer you even in the middle of your suffering?
Yeah, so thanks for hanging out with us. We've had a great time talking about anxiety this whole month, and we can't wait to see you in the comments section below.
Yeah, see you guys.